The sun was retreating behind the palm trees as the dusty winds of Isali Oya beat steadily against the fading walls of Baba Tunde's compound. Young boys ran across the street, their laughter bouncing off the rusting zinc rooftops, while the scent of freshly fried akara mingled with the chatter of traders closing up their stalls. Baba Tunde, stoic and tall, walked with a dignified gait, his feet enclosed in a pair of tattered but well-worn leather shoes that had seen better days. He entered the courtyard just as Mama Tawo, the market gossip, was weaving her way out. "Ah, Baba Tunde," she greeted curtly, her eyes lingering on his shoes for a moment too long before she continued on her way. Tunde picked up on her derisive glance, the all-too-familiar sting of shame heating his cheeks, but he said nothing. Inside, Tunde found his nephew, Kunle, sitting cross-legged on the floor, his textbooks spread out before him. "Uncle, did you get the money for the new shoes?" Kunle inquired, his voice hopeful. Tunde sighed deeply, his heart heavy with the looming disappointment. "Not yet, Kunle, but soon. I promise." Kunle nodded, pretending to be engrossed in his studies. The next morning, the market's vibrant hum was overshadowed by a peculiar excitement. Tunde noticed sidelong glances and whispered conversations following him as he went from one stall to another, his feet scuffing the red earth in quiet determination. It was at Madame Sade's bread stall that he heard it. "They say the council is planning to replace you, Baba Tunde," she said, her voice laced with false sympathy. Tunde's heart rattled in his chest. "Who is saying such things, Sade?" She shrugged, her hands deep in flour. "Everyone, Baba. People are talking." On his way home under the loom of gathering clouds, Tunde's thoughts were a tangled web of uncertainty. Was his livelihood truly at risk? As the village's spokesperson, his role was not only to guide but also to provide for many families. Any disruption could be catastrophic. Kunle's voice pulled him back from his thoughts as Tunde pushed open their gate. "Uncle, did you hear about the council meeting?" Tunde nodded, masking his growing anxiety. "I have, Kunle. It seems times are changing." The following day was the council meeting, held in the village square. Tunde arrived to find a sizable gathering, faces expectant and eyes curious. The meeting dragged with the usual reports and discussions until Chief Dapo stood, commanding attention with his imposing figure. "There are concerns," Chief Dapo began, his gaze fixed squarely on Tunde, "that we need a younger, more modern voice to represent us." Murmurs spread through the crowd like a ripple in a pond. Tunde stepped forward, his shoes leaving shallow imprints in the dirt. "With due respect, Chief Dapo, I have served the village faithfully. Is this about age or something else?" Chief Dapo's smile was tight, unfriendly. "The community thinks it best." A cold fist clenched around Tunde's heart. Betrayed not just by the council, but by those he counted as friends. It felt as if the very earth was slipping from under his feet. The crowd dispersed slowly, leaving Tunde in the square's fading light. Among them was Jacob, a longtime ally who placed a hand on Tunde's shoulder. "Take heart, Tunde. All is not lost," Jacob murmured. But all Tunde could see was the mocking laughter of those who would dare judge a man by his worn shoes. Late into the evening, the compound was silent save the distant crooning of crickets. Tunde sat on an old wooden stool, confronting his thoughts in solitude. His mind danced back to the whispers, and now the reality of the deceit lay bare. Kunle approached quietly. "Uncle, are you all right?" Tunde managed a weary smile. "It is not the end, Kunle. Just a bend in the road." Despite the inner turmoil, Tunde began plotting his next steps. He would not stand idly by and let baseless rumors dictate his future, or that of his families. In the days that followed, Tunde met with supportive elders, seeking their wisdom, sketching a new path forward. Kunle watched, learning lessons in resilience as Tunde carried his burden with a quiet dignity. On the fifth afternoon, Tunde received unexpected news, a letter sealed with the chief's seal, inviting him to a private dinner with the council. As Tunde folded the letter, a quiet resolve settled over him. The winds were shifting, and while the path ahead was uncertain, perhaps there lay a glimmer of hope at the table. Tunde stood in the courtyard, his eyes scanning the horizon where the sky kissed the earth, pondering the twists of destiny that brought him here. The next meeting could change everything. The village awaited his next move. As the sun began to set in vibrant hues, casting long shadows over his worn shoes, Tunde felt the tug of destiny growing firmer. Surely there was justice to be found, even amid betrayal. With a steady heart, he strode inside, the promise of redemption mingling with the evening air. The evening of the council dinner arrived with the rustling whispers of expectations and silent schemes. Baba Tunde donned his best attire, a crisp agbada, once vibrant but now faded, much like the respect he once commanded. As Tunde approached the chief's compound, lanterns flickered, casting ephemeral shadows against the walls. The assembled elders exchanged formal nods when he entered, their eyes speaking a truth more piercing than their words. Chief Dapo was seated at the head of the table, his presence dominating the gathering. He motioned Tunde to a seat nearby. "Ah, Tunde, we have much to discuss," Chief Dapo said, his voice holding a calculated warmth. Tunde nodded, suppressing the urge to match Dapo's cunning with quiet defiance. This was not the place for hostilities, not yet. Tonight, he would discover the truth hidden behind cordial facades. As the dinner unfolded in a procession of swallows and seasoned soup, murmured pleasantries turned to discussions of village affairs. The air grew palpable with underlying tension as Chief Dapo broached the subject everyone was anticipating but none dared to address. "We must all stay adaptable," Chief Dapo started, his gaze lancing through the flickering lamplight towards Tunde. "As our village grows, so too must our leadership." Tunde felt his heart tighten, aware that his position was under scrutiny. Yet it was Jacob, seated quietly opposite, who finally voiced what rested on many tongues. "Adapting does not mean discarding wisdom, Chief Dapo," Jacob interjected, his sincerity cutting through the artifice. "Baba Tunde has led fairly and with integrity. Let us not forget this." The room stilled, save the quiet weeping of the night wind. Tunde locked eyes with Jacob, an unspoken gratitude passing between them. Yet something in Dapo's smile hinted at further machinations. Returning home, Tunde's mind swirled with disquiet. Such deceit from Chief Dapo echoed like thunder in his heart. But it was Kunle who greeted him with unexpected news. "Uncle," Kunle said, crestfallen, "there are now talks of appointing your replacement by week's end." The news was a bitter thorn, threatening to unravel the last threads of Tunde's resolve. Kunle's eyes, mirrors of his belief in his uncle, weighed heavily on him. And so began the descent. Tunde, desperately clutching at strategies steeped in anger and pride, rallied his few remaining supporters. His mind, sharp with resolve, devised plans he hoped would lay bare Dapo's plots and appoint him unrepentant. Days stretched on, each one further fraying Tunde's spirit. It was in this crucible of doubt that he stumbled into old Mama Aduki, the village's silent audience and prayerful watchman. "Aduke," Tunde greeted wearily. "The council stabs from shadows with tainted swords, seeking my downfall." Mother Aduke said nothing at first, only gazed at him with eyes that held years of wisdom. "Revenge sours the tongue and blinds the eyes, Tunde," she finally said, her voice gentle but strong. "Listen not with the fury of emotion, but with the quiet strength of faith." Her words, like pebbles dropped into still water, rippled through Tunde's heart. "A scripture, if you remember," Mother Aduke continued. "Isaiah says, 'No weapon formed against you shall prosper.' Hold that truth, my son." That night, alone beneath the starlit canopy of his compound, Tunde reflected upon those words. Being right did not warrant vengeance nor serve justice. A memory surfaced, of his mother urging prayers even when life seems heavy. His chest tightened in a clash of guilt and longing. To forgive or to fight, peaks rising from the torn landscape of his soul. Tunde knelt on the cold earth, the soil gritty beneath weathered fingers, and for the first time in days, sought guidance beyond his own turbulent thoughts. "Lord, show me the path of righteousness," he murmured, the prayer uncoiling from deep within. The act of surrender, small but genuine, sparked an ember of peace. The road ahead remained jagged, unforgiving, but not without hope. Through the murmured faith reveals, the village braced for the council's concluding decree. Yet at the meeting, Tunde, armed with truth and humility, conveyed his desire to serve, to guide not for power but for people's welfare. "Brothers and sisters," he addressed them solemnly. While whispers have undone trust, let us rebuild not on discord, but on unity. If stepping aside brings us forward, so be it, but let fairness hold sway. In the silence that followed, a gradual chorus emerged, voices buoyed by Tunde's unexpected humility and grace. Jacob again rose, meeting Dapo's gaze without retreat. The truth, married with a servant's heart, had a light no malice could eclipse. Perhaps we need the wisdom of ancestors and the vigor of new blood both, Jacob suggested, his words tuned with the sound of balance restored. Chief Dapo's once impenetrable mask cracked, and he nodded slowly, acknowledging Tunde's humility and the wisdom in Jacob's suggestion. As the sun dipped behind its verdant curtain, casting hues of redemption over their village, Tunde understood a profound truth. Revenge sows bitterness, but redemption, painful and slow, reaps transformation. In the days that followed, while power shared among the council echoed a new wisdom, Tunde found solace in the quiet humility God instilled within him. Amidst it all, the significance of Kunle, his name, everlasting, felt newly prophetic as he returned home, his shoes, though worn, tracing paths of new hope along the familiar red earth. In faith and community, human flaws remain, yet so does the enduring light of grace. Tunde's path forward stretched onward, a testament to humility's unyielding strength.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.